Yo,
Jack,
it's
hiding off
it's
the
time,
screen.
man.
Why
It's
you
time,
gonna
man.
bring this out every time, huh?
No,
Strat?
I'm just bringing it out because it's episode 81, the Kobe Bryant episode,
Oh, okay.
Toronto Raptors edition, when he dropped 81 on their head. Yeah, that's what I was just shouting him out. Come on.
That's fine. I mean, you brought it out last week too with the Mamba
I
mentality,
know.
so I thought it was
I'm just
just
trying to
gonna
catch
be a
up to you,
thing.
man, in NFL picks, bro. You've been killing me this year, but
It's your new secret formula, or what for
yeah.
that? It's your
Yeah,
new
the Mamba
tradition.
mentality. It's just I'm trying to insert it into all aspects of my life. You know what I'm saying?
Superstitious ass.
Uh,
Jeez. Oh, I got a
we're good.
random question for you.
What's up?
Does Yeah, it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be funny though. Um, who does anyone on your coaching staff have weird superstitions about games?
I mean, you want to hear my own? Like,
Yeah,
I
I
have
do.
superstitions
I want to hear your stupid
because
superstition.
I
That's
can't go through the
completely
other
pointless.
coaches. Like, you know what I mean? I don't necessarily
Yeah.
know what they do and don't do on
Yeah,
a
yeah,
game to
yeah,
game
yeah.
basis. I for sure have my superstitions. I have, there's things I have to stat and keep track of during the games. I fill those out at certain times during warmups, like very specific times. Like I'll go sit at the bench and like fill it out and prep it, and then like it's just everything is at certain times throughout the warmup. So we get 90 minutes on the clock is when we're allowed to take the court and start warming up. And so from 90 to 0, there's like 3 or 4 random intervals where I'll stop and do something, and I'll do it at that time every single game.
Yeah,
Pre-game,
I mean, I
I
do
got
that
stuff
same.
too.
I do that same exact thing.
You do? Yeah.
Yes, every time our team only goes off 55 minutes approximately, but like every single point, there's like 3 different points where I set up different things where I get where it's close enough to the game that coach actually has the lineup, so I get the lineup and I put that
Yeah.
all in how it needs to be, and just like weird different little things like that.
Even like when we're meeting in our pregame meetings, we do 2 of them. We do one at the 60-minute mark and one at the 25-minute mark. I do the same things when I enter the locker room and leave the locker room during those. Like I could go on and on. There's hundreds of things that I do the same every single
Exactly the
game.
same every single time, no matter what.
Yes, correct.
Always.
So many things. I'm just weird like that. I'm weird like that.
That's wild.
Wins or losses, like
What?
I just do it. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like
yeah.
I had a routine. Why I'm like this is because my first year of coaching at Bethany, we won the conference title, and I was like, that was my first year, so I'm just like doing
Yeah,
things, trying to like get a routine, and I am a
yeah.
superstitious person at heart, and so we won the conference title. I was like, all right, this is working, huh? So then since then, I've just been doing the same thing.
That is
That's a good
very
question,
funny.
man.
My
That's
head
a good
coach
question.
has a funny one. That's what made me think of this was anytime we had, and I don't know if I'm giving away information, but probably not listening to this podcast anyway. Yeah, let's go. We like it on that note. Listen, subscribe, check this thing out. Where we had one parent that would wear like the Wisconsin like red and white like overall bibs, like the whole thing sometimes. And every single time he wore that, my head coach would get ticked. He's like, we always lose when this guy wears these stupid overalls.
Of
And
course,
so
your
every
head coach
time,
noticed that.
yes, every time he walks in, we just look at each other and just like, shit. Like every time, it's very funny. And honestly, we did not win in 3 very often with him in those overalls. Like we won sometimes, but it was always sketchy when he wore those overalls. So
Hey,
I was
you got to
almost
tell the man.
convinced by the end of the year.
Yeah, you got to tell him.
We
Is
didn't
he going to
tell
be
him,
there
and he
next
wore them
year?
anyway. We told him, and he wore them anyway. That's the kind
He's
of
like,
guy this
nah.
guy
He's like, nah.
is.
This is my superstition. I'm
Yeah,
sticking to it. Yeah,
exactly.
that's
And
funny.
he was a senior parent, so no more of that next year anyway.
Okay. That's funny though. But Spinny, I think before we get running with this Kobe Bryant 81 point episode, let's do some fat L's and big dubs, man. We haven't done this since episode 52, bro. Almost 30 episodes ago, 29 episodes ago to be exact.
Wild.
We got a lot. I will just get going right away. Let's start with the L's, huh? In general, Speedy and I obviously had a ton of L's from our mock drafts, both NFL and NBA, so we could go on and on with those. But who doesn't have L's with those? I do want to mention one, though, being in our group mock draft, us two, Chase, and Derek Killabarda, we all let the men and the Seward-Thompson twins fall out of the top 5. Neither of them were in the top 5 in our mock draft. Obviously, that is a really fat L because both of them were in the top 5 in the real draft. So,
and both Ahmed hasn't played as much, but a Sewer's been a dog.
And a Sewer's been a
absolute dog. And
yeah,
I think Ahmed's going to be good too. He just hasn't played enough to like.
No, he hasn't. Yeah, he's hurt.
And he's not your team. I want him on the different team. There's just so many guards.
Rockets are trying to compete, and they have a lot of guards already, so he's probably not going to play much this year.
Yeah, it's dumb.
Yeah. How about you? What do you got?
Well, my first L is for you. So
what?
You're welcome. No, I'm just kidding. My biggest L was not having Shohei win MVP. I mean, it was pretty obvious, and I decided to pick.
You went out on
Rodriguez.
Julio, yeah.
Whose team did not even make the playoffs, and it was just big tough looks for me on that whole scenario.
I mean, we're talking baseball, bro. I picked Alcantara and Dylan Cease to win Cy Young. That is my next L. Oof. These boys didn't even get under 4 ERAs, bro. Like, I don't even want to dive into Dylan Cease's numbers because those were damn near 5 ERA. That was a pathetic season, and
Wall Street,
they both killed my fantasy too.
Yeah,
exactly. Killed me on this pod and my fantasy team.
Classic, love it. Having Kawhi in the top 20 on my NBA ranking list in the summer.
I did it.
I think that was a fat L by me. And I just don't think Kawhi's the same player anymore. It might be dumb. I might be wrong. But it's like, I gave this guy was so good that I basically gave him 5 years of benefit of the doubt. And it's just over now. I just can't do it anymore. So I don't think Kawhi's a top 20 player at all. And I don't think he's going to be. So, fat L.
I'm with you there. I'm gonna roast a guest, Spinny. I'm going back to baseball here. Brendan, on our MLB preview, do you happen to remember who he said AL breakout player was going to be?
No.
Jose Miranda of the Minnesota Twins. Yeah. He went far to say these stat lines he would achieve, Spinny. Get this. 295 plus batting average, 30 plus home runs, and 95 plus RBIs. He thought he would achieve all of those. And as we know, Jose Miranda was so bad he couldn't even finish the season on the professional team. He had to go back to the minors. So, Brendan, that's an L, dog.
Yeah, that's a big L for Brendan. My last L for myself personally is picking the Houston Texans to go 3-14. That was a ginormous L. Obviously have more wins than that already, and CJ Stroud is the best rookie quarterback. So, that's big looks.
My last one, I'm going to roast one more guest for it, so we talk some dubs here. Brady Herrick, man, what were you doing on our fantasy mock draft? You had tremendous faith in Cam Akers. You thought he would finish as an RB2 at least. Oof, that's tough. Darren Waller, you thought for sure would be a top 3 tight end. Oof, that's also looking pretty tough here. Daniel Jones as the QB, even going into the season, that's not appealing at all. Brady Herrick, bro, those are some fat L's by you.
I like that. No, my last L is for you, Bus. And this is the biggest L ever because of the team that it was. This man, Jack Bussler, picked the New York Yankees to win the AL East last year. And this team did not even make the playoffs. The Yankees, Bus. On this podcast, you picked the Yankees to win a division, and they didn't even make the playoffs. They didn't make the playoffs. Didn't make the playoffs. So that is tough for you.
I will accept that L gladly. Because screw the Yankees. So I'm glad that's an L by me. Dubs, more MLB, man. More MLB for me. I picked the Rangers and the D-backs as my sleeper teams in MLB before the season started. I don't know why I'm always so good at sleeper teams. I did this last year as well. I had the Phillies. So, I don't know why that specific part of our preview I always nail, but I do. So, shout out to me.
Agreed. Shout out.
You probably don't have any dubs, so I might as well just keep going, right?
My baseball dub, picking the Orioles in the playoffs. How many of you did that?
Yeah.
Orioles in the playoffs. I didn't even have them as good as they were going to be. I thought they were going to be a wild card team. Won the division, 100 wins, absolutely unbelievable. And I saw it coming from those dogs in Baltimore.
Talking about the Orioles, I also accurately predicted one of the Orioles seasons, Gunnar Henderson winning Rookie of the Year. I said on our preseason episode, as well as Cade Carroll. So I was 2 for 2 on the Rookie of the Year for a season. As we know, that can be a really tough one to predict in MLB because who knows who's playing and who's not. Guys get called up from the minors and brought back down so many times.
Agreed. Another baseball one for me. He finally did it, and I picked it when he did it. First time I've picked him for this, and first time he's won it.
Cy Young?
Cole, Cy Young Award winner. Let's not go because screw the Yankees, but let's go. We'd love being right about Cy Young.
Brendan, I roasted you, man, earlier. Shout out to you, though. I remember he had picked Garrett Cole as well. So, Brendan, did get it done.
Brendan also was the only one of us to pick the Mariners to miss the playoffs and to have the Rangers making it at the same time. So that was a big dub for him as well. We both were taking fat L's on that.
Well, hey, the last one I want to shout out is about our guest. So we're going to shout him out. CFB Mike, man, at the beginning of the NFL mock that we did as a group, he said these words, that Bryce Young will be the first pick, but that CJ Stroud will be the best quarterback in this class. That's 2 for 2 right there. That is a big dub by CFB Mike. And Spinny, I don't know what you're thinking, man, but I think we need to hear from Jack and get this man on and get
yes,
going.
Sir. Longest intro of all time. Let's hear from Jack.
Hey, we love it. The man of the hour, CFB Mike, joins us. You already know what that means. We'll be about to talk about college football, man. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing good. It's November, baby. Stuff's starting to mean stuff. Stuff's starting to matter. We'll say that.
Yes, sir.
Stuff's happening in college football right now.
We're gonna get right to it, though. College football, as we know, Jordan Travis, he went down, gruesome leg injury. My question for you, Mike. What impact does this have? Obviously, for the team, losing your quarterback, that's going to suck. But based on the college football playoff, what kind of impact does this injury have? Like, should they get bounced out of the top 4? I know the rankings came out today, and they did drop to 5. So I guess my question for you, like, is that okay, or are you along the lines of no, they should still be in if they were to win out based on their body of work throughout the season?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a valid question. And as we're recording this, that just came out, Washington leapfrogs FSU in the rankings. So I'd compare it to 2014 with Cardale Jones in Ohio State. He had 2 weeks to prove it. JT Barrett went down in the game against Michigan, and then he had a chance to prove it the next week in the Big Ten championship game. It's still out there for Florida State. Obviously, I think of them as a lesser team without Jordan Travis. He means so much to them compared to, a stacked Ohio State team that had Zeke Elliott to really carry the load and a really good defense. But so I don't know if those are apples to apples, but they get the same opportunity. So say they beat Florida this week. They beat Louisville convincingly in the ACC championship game. I think there's an opportunity for them to. It's hard to leave an undefeated team out, especially when it looks like we're going to have 2, maybe 3 of the Power 5 champions be 1-loss teams. So it's really hard to leave an undefeated out.
There's never been an undefeated Power 5 left out, so that would be the first time.
Right. So it's hard. I personally, if Texas and Bama win their conferences, I think Florida State's done for either way, though, because they're kind of a package deal. I mean,
right.
You can't put Bama in over Texas, but if Bama beats Georgia, they have the best win out there. So,
Not wrong. It's going to be a mess. We'll see what plays out these next
Mhm.
2 weeks here.
Right.
Well, that's kind of leading into my question, and then it's going to lead back into Bus's question. So we're just going to play the leading game today. So if Ohio State and Michigan, one of them has to lose, obviously. Is there any chance Florida State, Georgia, Washington win out? Is there any chance for the one-loss team of those two to be in, or for any other team to be in over a Florida State?
I don't think so. Currently, the way that they have things set up, if let's say one of those teams loses and Texas loses, you'd need 2 losses. So you'd need Georgia. Yeah, probably. You probably need Washington to win, just so Oregon would have a second loss, just for damage control. But yeah, Texas is the dark horse. They have them sitting at 7 still, but everything in front of them can just cannibalize, and I think Texas is going to sneak in. But I just don't see a scenario where Ohio State and Michigan both get in.
Do you think Florida State loses? Purely question. Do you think they went out or not?
I know we had this on our agenda coming up to pick the conference champions, and I'll just get my hot take out of the way right now. I think Louisville beats Florida State in the ACC championship.
Okay. Is there any chance Louisville gets in? They only have 1 loss, right?
I don't think they can get in. I think they have too much ground to make up. There's too many good teams this year.
Yeah.
But what a story for them, especially when you talk about the transfer portal era. They brought in everything new, and for it to all come together that quick for them, that's very impressive. But I don't think I would be so mad as a college football fan if Louisville somehow gets in and we have Bama or Georgia or Texas sitting at home.
Sitting at home, yeah.
No, we can't have that.
No, I totally agree. Completely agree. Let's run through some more playoff scenarios here. How about this one for you? This is going to be tough. Oregon wins, so they win the Pac-12. They beat Washington. Bama wins over Georgia. Florida State wins out. Michigan wins the Big Ten, and Texas also wins the Big 12.
So Florida State undefeated.
Florida State undefeated. Michigan undefeated. Texas 1 loss. Big 12 champions. Oregon 1 loss. Pac-12 champions. Bama 1 loss. SEC champions, and Georgia 1 loss. Not a conference champ.
So here's my thing. People say this is the impossible scenario, but I think if Bama wins the SEC and Texas wins the Big 12, that's like they're both in. Like, because you can't put one in over the other. Like I said earlier, if Bama beats Georgia, they have the best win. But you can't put Bama in and not have Texas in because Texas beat Bama.
Right.
So you would have to lose. Like, the Jordan Travis injury becomes a cop-out for the committee where they can have their cake and eat it too. They don't have to bring FS, and leaving an undefeated team out is a very hard thing to do, but they can use circumstance and say that it's a different team than they've had all year. Injuries definitely play into that. So then they've said that they've been very open about saying that they can make decisions based on changes of circumstance. So unfortunately, if you're Florida State, it's not the answer you want to hear, but that's the reality. We got to put the best 4 teams in, right?
That would be wild. Florida State fans would riot. Like, like Bus said, first time
they're ordering the national championship shirts. That's for damn sure. If they're not in and they're undefeated, they're going to do that.
They can hang the banner right next to UCF.
That's what I'm saying. True.
But
okay. So in that scenario, then you're also going to leave out. So like if Bama, you have Bama and Texas in that scenario, right?
Bama, Texas, Oregon.
So Georgia's out then too.
Yes. Yeah. I think Georgia doesn't have enough good wins, if we're being completely honest.
Their schedule is kind of weak this year.
Again, they got propped up with wins against Tennessee after they had already lost twice or 3 times. And then you'd get propped up with Ole Miss being a top 10 team didn't make any sense to me.
Right.
I'll say
No, I
it.
agree.
So then they get credit for a top 10 win there, but like we all know Ole Miss isn't a top 10 team. I'm not impressed with Georgia. Like if they don't win the SEC, I think they have no business being there. I'd much rather see Texas.
So it'd
Who knows
be
if proven it.
and in that situation, you would rather have Big Ten winner, Pac-12 winner, and then Bama and Texas. Correct.
Mhm.
Yes. Okay, that makes sense to me. I think I'm with you there. I do have another one. Should I throw it at you, Mike?
Let's hear it.
Okay, but now we have Washington winning instead of Oregon. We still have Bama. We still have Florida State winning out. And we have Ohio State winning instead of Michigan. And then obviously Texas winning too. Does a one-loss – so essentially what I'm getting at with this one, does a one-loss Michigan team make it in? I guess you kind of said that with Spinny's answer. You think there's no chance in hell two Big Ten teams are getting in?
No, because you'd have to put in, even if you're looking at the first team out, your fourth team in would have to be Texas still. Fetty, you don't have very many scenarios with Bama losing to Georgia. I also noticed here.
Yeah.
What's that about?
I'm feeling about that one.
Because I'm just trying to make it trickier. You know what I mean? Because obviously the easiest thing is if Georgia wins, they're obviously in. They're two-time defending champ, undefeated. Like they're going to probably be the one seed if that were to happen. So I'm just trying to think of the most crazy scenarios possible. So that's why I have Bama winning. Obviously, no one's taking Bama either way.
Classic excuses, yeah.
Roll Tide. Look at my headline, man.
Yeah. Nah.
No, I think that we hit on the biggest like doomsday scenario, and I think that the committee could maneuver around it with the Travis injury. But if he were to be healthy, I think that's like FSU.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. I can't imagine what they would do if that scenario played out and Travis was actually healthy. Like Bama were to win and Oregon.
But then Florida State's getting in.
They would get in, right? But then
yeah.
So but then what? Are you going to leave? You're leaving out a one-loss SEC Bama team?
No, you're at that point you're leaving out Oregon.
Texas,
I think.
probably.
No,
yeah,
Oregon, because you can't put I don't think there's any way on this earth you can get away with putting Bama in and not Texas if they're both conference champions. But you could make the argument that Oregon didn't do enough, even though they've been impressive and they meet like right now versus the eye test. I think that Oregon might be the most impressive team in the country, but that loss really hurts them unless they can avenge it. So I don't know.
See, this is a year when the 12-team playoff would have been awesome because there's a ton of good teams like 6, 5 through 10 that are on the exact same level that are super fun.
Mm-hmm. Or even like we talked a little bit about JMU earlier in the season where it's like obviously they didn't get the waiver to play, so it doesn't really matter. But then think about fun teams like Tulane, where in that 12-team format, Tulane, Liberty, they're fighting for a bit in there where Liberty's undefeated. They have a really fun offense. They score a lot of points. Tulane's tough. They have a NFL draft, a quarterback that's going to be drafted next year, likely. And I don't know. I think even the group of five, the G5 teams are looking kind of spicy right now. So I'm excited to see that. Whoever gets left out gets to play them.
Agreed. That would be fun. We're going to jump to a little bit of an NFL, a little bit of a draft, college football hybrid related question. And I think we talked about this before the season. I'm just curious to see if your opinions change or where you're at. The best future pro quarterback not named Caleb Williams. Who is it?
It's Drake May.
Is it? Okay.
I don't even like it's right now. It's crazy to me. There was a point in this season when USC lost back-to-back games, and I was just like, if I have the number one pick and I need a quarterback, I'd almost take Drake May over Caleb Williams. And it sounds crazy when you say it, but I've just been so impressed with.
I've heard a lot of people say that.
And again, it still sounds strange. I've said it multiple times. And it's just like, do I mean that? Do I really mean that? Like It's interesting. It really is. I don't know how to really put it into words, but Drake May has a cannon of an arm. He's mobile. So is Caleb Williams, but it just looks different. It looks like Drake May looks more like an NFL quarterback. Like he stands
A
tall in the pocket,
prototype, yeah.
more prototype, but he still has that mobility to him. Where
Right.
I feel like Caleb Williams, from what I've watched, it almost looks Dobbs like, dude. Like he's running around scrambling. Like I don't know if he's capable of sitting back in the pocket. Like he gets outside the pocket, he runs around, he does his Manziel dance, which is fine. But I just don't know. Like he's throwing sidearm balls. Like I don't even know if the mechanics are there. He throws more balls like off schedule than he throws normal passes. I don't even know what his normal throwing motion looks like. If we're being
That's
honest.
fair.
He's sidearming stuff. He's throwing off his back foot, like stuff you can get away with in college. I don't know if that translates to the pros. He's definitely more talented than any quarterback I've seen in the last 10, 15 years. But it's just so hard to like see what he actually is. The way he plays, because he just makes all these circus plays, and it's like, is that real? So part of me is second guessing how great Caleb really is, and I don't know, just that prototype element of Drake May definitely like makes me think that he might translate to an NFL offense more. But like if he goes to Arizona, I don't know. But I guess Kingsbury's not there anymore. I don't know.
I had a lot of those thoughts about Caleb Williams this back half of this season too. But then I always just keep thinking about Mahomes, because these were all the questions Mahomes had in college too. It's the only reason why he slid down to the board to 11 or wherever he went, right? So it's like I would want to think that, but then Mahomes has totally obviously proved us wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So
I also think that's going to be a factor in Caleb getting drafted high, because people are going to think
because of the Mahomes
thing. You can't tell me NBA or NFL GMs aren't thinking that same thing right now when they're evaluating these guys. Like, am I going to pull the Trubisky and Mahomes or Trubisky and Deshaun situation? Like, no one wants to do that. So it should be very interesting to see how that plays out.
All right, I got to ask you, Harbaugh suspended, as we all know. Mike, what do you think about this whole situation, man?
You know, obviously, I think everyone can come to an agreement that this happens at some level all across college football. To the depth, that's where it gets a little alarming to me. But let's just look at what Michigan's done the last 3 years and how they've manhandled certain teams. That's not sign stealing. Like that, they are a dominant team. It's not like it's different than baseball, even where the Astros were. You think about, what pitch is coming. That makes it so much easier to hit. Whereas, you can guess pass run situations. You can maybe get a hot call here and there. But I think about this Penn State game actually really provided a lot of clarity to me. They ran the ball 30 straight times. They didn't try to trick you or anything. They just lined you up, knocked you down, and they did it 30 consecutive times. They're like, no, we don't even need to throw the ball. We're going to just run over you. And they did that against Ohio State 2 straight years. If they do it again, it doesn't matter. And Harbaugh is probably going to get ran out of town. He's probably going to go to the Bears, but he's going to pull the Pete Carroll move. I think that's what's going to happen. The NCAA is going to come down on him if they keep winning. They're going to say it has something to do with it, but I don't know. I think the way they play, it was kind of outshined the allegations a little bit, where I think that they just are that good. They are that talented, and they're kind of a super team. But that's the most interesting game of the weekend, obviously. Ohio State can't lose 3 straight years to Michigan.
You would. Day might get fired if he does, man.
Exactly. I've never been a Ryan Day fan. But hey, like, how do you have a job still if you're not winning natties and you're losing to Michigan? So
seriously,
that's so interesting. I think I compare it to the Deflategate situation in the way of the same thing. Like, they talk about that game, and LeGarrette Blount ran for like 200 yards in that game and had 3 touchdowns, and they threw for like 170. So it's like it's the same kind of thing you were talking about with Michigan, where it's like, yeah, okay, they might have got a random play call of yours, blah blah blah, but you still couldn't stop them from getting 5.5 yards to carry for the whole game. So
Yeah, maybe
I
stop,
see.
maybe tackle somebody, you know?
Yeah, maybe tackle somebody one time.
Weird. Spinny defending Deflategate. Weird. Wonder
What
why
do you
that
mean?
is.
I don't
Wonder
know. I don't know
why
what
that
you're
is.
talking about.
I'm just
Last
kidding.
question for you. We have to touch on the Gophers a little bit. Is PJ Fleck on the hot seat? If not, how long does it take for him to get on the hot seat? And secondly, what's it going to take for the Gophers offense to not be outright atrocious? Like, is there any possible future where that is the case?
Yeah, first off, I'd say PJ's not on the hot seat. It's going to take a lot more. It's going to need to get a lot worse for him to not be the Gophers head coach. With that said, the offense, yeah, PJ needs to get out of the way. The offensive staff is doing a good job, I think, of calling plays, putting them in successful positions, and PJ just has his hands in the offense where I just feel like it's too conservative right now. That's really what it comes down to, especially when you're on running backs 3 and 4. You gotta trust your quarterback. You gotta allow him to push the ball down the field. Our wide receivers have been playing well. It just seems clunky, and I think that any offensive coordinator would, if you just allow him to go, will be fine. But you can tell time after time, year after year, no matter who the coach is, who's calling plays, it looks the same. So that tells me that the head coach has definitely got his hands in it too much. So I like Ethan as a quarterback. He's shown bursts in the first half. He's kind of fizzled out in the second half when we kind of gotten through this funk. But I think they have the tools. They're a really young team, and in a lot of positions right now, the Gophers are playing on, third and fourth string in some cases. So this year's kind of a lost cause, but they retain the axe and they go to a bowl game. How are you going to get rid of PJ? 6-6 with wins over Iowa and Wisconsin. 2006 Gophers would kill for that. A bowl game and two of your biggest rivals you got wins against. Come on now.
And I agree. And that's been my biggest case for PJ when people bring that up recently is it's like, yeah, he's not, top tier across college football, but like you look at the Gophers history of coaches and it's hard to move him very far down that list. He's pretty high. He's pretty high on that list, especially in the last 40 years. He's pretty high on that list.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, Mike. Before I hopefully kick your ass in trivia, quick predictions for these championship games, man. Who do we got winning these Power 5 conference championships that begin next week? Obviously, not all of the matchups are completely set yet. We can still throw some predictions out there.
Yeah, I'll start with the Big Ten. I think Ohio State goes on the road to Michigan. They beat Michigan. I think Ohio State beats the piss out of Iowa, and they're in the college football playoff. Then in the Pac-12, I think Oregon avenges their loss against Washington. They punch their ticket to the college football playoff.
Okay.
Ooh.
And then Big 12 championship, it could be Oklahoma State. It could be Oklahoma. If Texas loses to Texas Tech, they might not get in, but I think it's Texas. I think Texas beats Oklahoma State or Oklahoma. Boy, would that be exciting. If Oklahoma State loses to BYU and Oklahoma wins, we'd have an OU Texas rematch in the Big 12 championship game. So that would also help Texas's case in if they get to avenge their only loss. So makes a stronger case for them. Bama, Georgia, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this as well. I have Bama beating Georgia, and it's for the most surprising reason ever. It's that I don't like Carson Beck as much as I like Jalen Milroe the last month and a half. And
Milroe's been killing it, actually.
I dogged Milroe after that Texas game. I was like, this guy's not it. I don't think. And then they went to Buckner, and it was like that. Yeah, that's not it.
Yeah.
And then Milroe came back, and it's like trust your legs and throw deep balls, and it's been working. So I don't know if they're going to be able to get it over. I don't know if they're going to get it over Georgia's head, but they can sure try.
Georgia's offense is always just so much different now that Bowers isn't playing. You know what I mean? Like since
He's
that
back
happened,
now. He's back
he
now,
is
but like
back now.
I don't trust.
That actually makes me so mad.
I don't trust Carson Beck. I don't know. I don't think this Georgia defense is the same level of elite that they were, 2 years ago or last year. I don't think they're the same level of killers. Like, and
that's
then
what happens when your whole team goes to the NFL.
Yeah, it's hard to reload that every year. I mean, it happening once. Yeah, you can do it once. Yeah, but yeah, that just shows how strong their recruiting is in a lot of ways. So, yeah, I think Bama's got it. And then the ACC championship game that's already locked in, Louisville versus Florida State. I'm going with the Cards, as I said earlier in the show. I like what they're building down there. That one loss, I can't remember who they lost to, but that definitely hurts them. There was a scenario earlier in the year where it could have been Duke, Louisville, and Florida State all undefeated, and they'd have to pick one on tiebreakers to be left out of the ACC championship game. But yeah, Duke, unfortunately, with Riley Leonard, got banged up.
Man, I'm with you. Everyone but I'm taking Washington over Oregon. That was my only difference.
Dude, I think that I kind of glazed over that point a little bit. And I know Spinny always loves it when I talk about Oregon now because I dogged him last year about Bo Nix. But, dude, I don't think Penix has been as good the last month. Like, I've watched him, and it's like, yeah, he can still make plays. But since that Oregon game, I feel like he hasn't been the same quarterback, really. Like, he had that really good game against Utah where they scored a bunch of points, but I don't know. And I don't trust that Washington defense. I definitely trust the Oregon defense to make a stop, to make one more stop. And on it, when you move that game from Washington to a neutral field, I think Oregon's got the edge.
Agreed on that one. Actually, I think Oregon has a slight edge, and I haven't liked what Penix has done the last month. Also, Louisville's loss was to Pitt, so that's a tough one for them.
Ooh, that's
unranked loss to an unranked team.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it's time. Spin. Time for you to get last. Me to win. And Mike's streak. Okay, Mike, I do have to tell you, you have been overtaken by Forbes. He has a 1-point lead on you now after his last appearance on the show. I would imagine that's not going to be hard for you to make up, considering you always be getting like 7+ points and just killing us.
We'll see. I don't know what kind of questions you're throwing my way. But
well, I'll start first. I'm giving you a college football question first. There's a thing here though. 2 of them need to be named. Name 2 of the top 5 in pass yards in college football. There's a reason why I want you to name 2 of them because it's pretty obvious names.
For this season?
Or for this season, time? Total pass yards, college football. Name 2 of the top 5.
I only get to name 2?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Penix and Nix.
I'm going to go Penix and Williams.
Both correct. Penix is 1, Caleb Williams is 2, Jaden Daniels is 3, Bo Nix is 4, and Cam Ward is 5. That's your top 5.
Cam Ward's still in the top 5. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Cam Ward balling. All right, my easy question. Which team has the best record in the NBA entering the games tonight, currently?
Got it.
Is it the Minnesota Timberwolves?
The 76ers.
Jesus.
That's 2 L's. It's the Celtics, 11-3, best record.
Oh, they have one more win.
Because they have one more win? They have
one more win. That's a better percentage. That is a better percentage.
Sixers have less losses.
No, they do not.
Sixers have 2 losses, do they not?
No, they have 3. They have 3. Boston has 3.
Okay, they must have just lost.
There's 2 teams, the Sixers and the Wolves, that are 10-3 with 3 losses. Boston 11-3. Only teams with 3 losses. So,
all right, fair
tough.
enough. The Sixers must have just lost. I swear they were 10-2. That's why I said Sixers. That's tough.
Boston also,
Mike?
yeah.
All right.
You got
Who
all
was
college
the-
football again, or what?
Yes, I do. Who was the last non-SEC team to win the national championship in college football?
Man.
I have a guess, but I feel like there's one more recent than them. I
Guys,
definitely have a guess. I'm running
this
with
is
it. I'm
supposed to
running
be
with
my
it.
easy question.
All right. I'm going to say Ohio State.
Ohio State.
Guys, are you serious right now? I tried to make them easier than last time.
Who do we forget? I knew we forget.
I knew that was too far back.
Since Ohio State won it last, this team has won it twice, and it's Clemson.
Oh yeah, duh. Oh my God, how did we forget about Clemson, bro?
Clemson.
Oh man, this is
Clemson,
gonna be
Spinny. Clemson.
That was horrible.
This is
Can we cut that? Can we cut my discussion out of the pod today? Because that's going on the next Fat L segment, whatever that is.
That's the worst. That might be the worst L ever.
Clip that.
Holy shit, Clemson, dude. Oh, all right. NBA, my medium question. Oh, I might even be nice and let you guys decide which one you want to do for medium and which for hard, because both of my medium hard are kind of hard. Not gonna lie.
One.
Current leader in the NBA in turnovers. He's a point guard. There's your hint. I guess he technically might not start, quote unquote, as a point guard. He has the ball in his hands all the time for his team, though.
Okay, I got an answer.
Do I need to do another hint?
I would love
like
another hint.
That is kind of hard, isn't it? Like, sure, I'll give you guys another hint. Eastern Conference player.
Oof. Well, that
leads the NBA in turnovers currently.
That screws my guess up.
Eastern Conference guard.
All right, I got a guess.
All right, I'm just going to say Jaylen Brown.
Donovan Mitchell?
Good guess. No left hand for Jaylen Brown, but not Donovan Mitchell. It's not Jaylen Brown.
Tyrese Maxey?
Spinny's boy from the Detroit Pistons, Cade Cunningham. 4.8 turnovers per game right now. Absolutely brutal.
So that has like 65 turnovers already?
Yeah, not good.
All right. My medium question might be too easy for Mike. What college football rivalry has the most games played in history? In the history of FBS, this rivalry has the most games played. That is worth 2 points. I'm giving you a bonus point if you can tell me how many times this has been played.
Just the most overall or most consecutive?
Most overall times. Quoting, thank you, The Athletic, for this awesome stat.
I have a guess.
And then a number for a bonus point.
The fact that you're asking for a number makes me not want to overthink this, but I'll let Fetty go first.
Oh, I have 2 guesses in my head. I'll just go with my first one that came to my head. Army and Navy. And, man, I don't know, 84? I don't know.
Okay, well, if Army and Navy have only played 84 times, I'm going to go with Minnesota and Wisconsin with 132, about to be 133.
Is it?
No cap. You just got that all correct. Exactly.
Oh, it's on. What?
It is Minnesota and Wisconsin, and it is 132. That is 3 points for Mike.
People, I got good news.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm actually writing a blog for 10K right now about the Minnesota and Wisconsin rivalry.
Spinny,
So be on the lookout for that. That is why I had the answer ready to roll.
Spinny, man, this is why we don't ask college football.
That is tough. That might be on the level of me getting the second. That might be one of the hardest questions I've ever answered exactly correctly.
That is tough. That is crazy. Yeah, that is crazy. Gophers and the Badgers, huh?
Yeah.
Makes sense. Does make
sense. Yeah, I knew it was the longest running uninterrupted rivalry. I knew that was the case. I didn't know all time though, because all time gets scary because you get the Army Navies of the world. Like even Ohio State's been playing Michigan since the 1800s, but they did go through a period where they didn't play each other. So it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah. It's interesting. I'll give you the list here really quick. The reason for the article was because Oregon and Oregon State will not be playing after this year, and that's like a super consecutive 127th meeting between the two. But the list goes Minnesota, Wisconsin, UNC and Virginia, Georgia, Auburn, Oregon, Oregon State, Miami of Ohio, Cincinnati, and then Stanford and Cal. Those are the top 6 on the list, most times played.
That's crazy.
All right, medium question, Mike.
All right. Name one of the D1 schools that plays its football games in an NFL stadium. There's multiple options here. So
interesting.
There's 2 Power 5 ones and then 1 G5 off the top of my head.
That's a really good question.
Yeah, what the?
2 Power 5.
Man, I'm struggling with this one.
And there's 2 that are in the same state.
I'm struggling so much with this one, Spinny. I don't know about you, man.
Don't overthink it. Think of NFL teams.
I know. That's what I'm trying to do here. Okay. That's a bad guess.
I have a guess. Absolutely 0. I don't think they play there, but we're running with my guess. 5 seconds, Spinny.
All right.
I'm gonna go on a limb here. I'm just going Indiana.
I'm gonna say Arizona State.
Both incorrect.
Okay. Who are they?
Pitt, Temple, and Miami. Temple plays in the Eagles. Temple plays in the Eagles Stadium. Pitt.
I knew because of the Kenny Pickett draft.
Right,
they talked about all the time how he played at the same training facility. He walked in the same door every day. Golly, I knew that one.
That was a good medium question, though. I feel like it wasn't.
It was a great medium question.
We suck, Spinny. We're terrible.
Yeah, give us the numbies.
Well, I'm at a fat 0. I might get a 0 this game. I have 0. Spinny, you have 1. Mike has 4. That's the score. Right?
Classic.
Hard round. I'm going another different sport here. I'm going college basketball. College basketball, current leader in rebounds. This is the guy we all know, actually. And well, at least if you follow college basketball.
All right, okay. I got to guess. It's probably wrong, but
I'll go on a limb and I'll say it's Zach Edey.
I was going to say Zach Edey, but I guarantee that's not right. It's probably a Gopher or something stupid.
It's wrong. Both of you guys are wrong. He plays in the ACC. He plays for UNC. Armando Bacot leads the country in boards right now. Edey, I didn't even think was in the top 5, if I remember correctly.
I guess he does get taken out. I don't know. I'm sure Baycott just plays more
Hunter
minutes.
Dickinson was third, I think, second or third. There's a lot of known names up there. So
Baycott makes sense. Okay. Y'all might hate me for this question, but what quarterback this quarterback is currently in the top 5 in passing yards in the NFL this season? There's 5 of them. Which one has won a Super Bowl?
So there's only one. So of the top 5, there's only one that's won a Super Bowl. Is that what you're saying in the NFL?
I can't tell you how many, but how many is the question? How many?
Oh wait.
I thought you wanted the name.
You want the name or do you want how many?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I asked the question like an idiot. I wanted how many. How many of the top 5 quarterbacks currently in passing yards have won a Super Bowl? Sorry. That was a terrible phrasing of that question.
I mean, I have a guess if we're only throwing numbers out here.
I'm just trying to think of how many active quarterbacks have won a Super Bowl to begin with. I don't think the number is very high. All right, I got an answer.
I'm going 1.
I'm going 0.
The answer is 0.
Yes. I didn't think Mahomes was in there. I didn't think
the
Mahomes
top 5
was
currently in passing yards is Sam Howell, number 1, CJ Stroud 2, Tua 3, Josh Allen 4, and Jared Goff 5.
Wow.
I knew Mahomes wasn't in.
How is Howell number 1? What?
Howell's slinging that thing, man.
That's crazy. And still McLaurin's dogging my fantasy team.
Literally. Well, we got slapped again.
Man.
As is classic.
That's 7 points?
Yeah, Bust and I are out.
Combined, we're going to lose. If we both get this hard question, we'll have 7, and we will tie him. Combined, we'll have 7.
All right.
Oh, my gosh.
I think this one might be easier than the last one. I just didn't know how to order it. But, all right. The SEC started playing a championship game in 1992. Alabama has the most championship game wins with 10. Who has the second most championship game wins?
Can you tell me how
SEC?
many?
In the SEC. Alabama has 10. The next team has 7.
Okay.
I have a guess.
Can I have one more hint? Is this team currently in the SEC?
No more hints.
Oh, no more hints? Okay, fine. All right. I have my guess then.
All right, go ahead.
I'm going Florida. Florida Gators.
Come on, you can't steal my team. It's Florida.
Good job, guys. You guys both got it right. I thought one of you guys was like flip up and say like LSU or something. Or
I was thinking LSU, but then I instantly thought Tim Tebow. I was like, no.
When I gave you the number, I feel like I gave it away because like when it said 7, it's like, well, no team's been that good, and unless you remember, like, forgot how good Florida was in the 90s.
Right.
Yeah. Like, because that's what gave it away. Like, they won like 4 straight in the 90s or something crazy like that.
Yeah, that's true.
And Tebow won at least 2.
Tebow won 2, and then I think they got one random other one like 2000.
Well, there you go, Spinny. We actually tied them combined. Congrats!
I got one up on Bus at least. First loser here.
I am the last place loser here. Classic. All right, though, Mike. We appreciate you coming on, spewing your college football knowledge at us once again, per usual. Roll Tide. That's all I got to say to you.
All right. Thanks,
hey,
fellas.
He picked Bama.
I did pick Bama, but if Jalen Milroe dogs me, I'm never picking Bama again.
Classic. Thank you, Mike. Have a wonderful
Thanks,
night.
fellas.
You too. Spinny, that is so disappointing, bro. Can we just beat this dude one time in our lives?
Can we not get easy ass questions wrong? Maybe that would help. If we didn't get easy ass questions wrong.
It's actually insanely embarrassing. Like, I don't even know. I'm speechless. Clemson. All right, Clemson.
Let's get out of the stupid football because apparently we suck at it today. Give me the NBA questions you got.
We go on NBA here. We're doing a mailbag segment, man. We have tons of questions from various listeners, Spinny. I'm the only one to see these, by the way, everyone. Hardy's and Hardo. Spinny is going straight off the
Off
cuff
the cuff.
for these questions. All right. Let's start with this one. We'll start with the 2 Wolves questions that I received. Derek Johnson is wondering, are the Wolves real title contenders? Like, are they like a legit top 5 team? I will say I'm not ready to say that. I'm going to go not quite yet. That's my
top
answer.
5 record in the regular season. Definitely could see them losing in the second round.
There you go. I'm with you, Spinny. I'm exactly with you. The other one from Dan Tim. He asks, where will Ant finish for MVP? He's about top 15 in all major stats right now in terms of totals, at least. Does he have a shot at winning? I'm gonna say he could finish in the top 5. I don't see a realistic chance for Ant to win that award this year. Yes, we could have a really good regular season record, but so will teams like the Celtics. And Tatum will probably have better stats than him. You're going to have your guys like Jokic and Luka with better stats than him. Giannis. So I don't think it's obtainable for Ant this year.
Tatum, Jokic, Luka, 3 names that I think are ahead of Ant for sure. And then that means you got to beat out like Embiid or a guy like that.
Embiid,
and I don't think that's happening either. So yeah, I think 5th is his ceiling, if I had to be honest.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm with you there. Another Dan Tim question. This is a really interesting one. Thoughts on the Kelly Oubre situation? Like, is there more to the story?
I wish I knew more about that situation. Can you got any like?
He got hit by a car, right?
Yep. But then there was something about him being on video at his home, like at the same time, or there was no camera footage of his car crash.
That's what it was. Yeah, they have him like his Ring camera or whatever, him walking in after the accident.
Yeah.
But apparently this happened in like the busiest or one of the busiest areas of Philly, downtown. Obviously it's not that far from the stadium.
Yeah.
And like you said, there's no footage of it. How the hell is there no footage of it when you're at one of the busiest intersections in the city? Like that's where I get sussed about it. Because obviously it's like, okay, I would just assume it's an accident and the dude obviously is just going to drive away because that's what people do. Like he's not trying to get in trouble. So he's just going to drive away. But the fact that there's no cameras and everything, like I don't know. Obviously, I'm not trying to get too deep into it and go ahead and assume that there's more to the story, but it's kind of sus, don't you think?
It's weird. Yeah. It's a little conspiracy theory, but it's weird. And like, did it happen at a different place? Was there some sus stuff involved? Like you said, we're not projecting anything, but it definitely gets my conspiracy theory ticker rolling. That's for sure.
Right. Right. Buck Waller. Which coach is already on the hot seat? I think I'm going to go Taylor Jenkins. Memphis Grizzlies. Ooh. They started off even worse than people thought they would without Ja. I could see this just completely unraveling. I could see Jaren Jackson and Ja or whoever else causing drama. And as we know, the coaches are usually the first ones to take the blame and get them out of there. So I would say Taylor Jenkins.
2 names for me. One, more realistic. One, this team has a good record, but it's still looking sketchy. So the more realistic one is, Ty Lue. Ty Lue. I think there's a lot going on there, a lot of personalities to manage. And I think if he can do it, he would be a coach of the year candidate. But I just don't think it's going to work. I think it's going to blow up. And I think Ty Lue could be the scapegoat in that situation. My other one is Adrian Griffin. I think it's kind of a Joe Mazzulla type situation going on where the team's still good, but the coaching is very, very suspect. So I could just see like if the Bucks go on a little losing streak or something, just something happening with him.
Quick decisions. I mean, they're obviously trying to win now. So like they ain't playing around. They ain't waiting at all. So I could see that too. He also asked, have you seen this much dysfunction across the league this early on? If you think past seasons, he made the point that it seems like we kind of know who the buyers and sellers at the trade deadline are already going to be. I'll answer that by saying I feel like it's kind of the same. if I'm being honest. I haven't really noticed too much dysfunction across the league. I just feel like right away after 10 to 15 games, as you get close to that quarter of the way into the season, that's just how it always is. You know what teams are going to suck all year, and you know what teams are going to be legit. So to me, I don't really notice that. Do you?
No, I think the bottom 3, 4 teams in each conference, you kind of know right away, and that the way the NBA is, they're just trying to tank because like that's the smart thing to do in the situation. So, I think that that's obviously a part of it, and you still have some surprising teams too. So I guess, like you said, like there's multiple teams. I think, especially in the East, where I could see it going the other way if things changed. Ergo, Indiana Pacers, Orlando Magic, like both teams that are in the playoff race right now, where I could see something going different and then not being there as well.
Yeah. These next two, man, from my guys on the squad. Shout out two of my players, Drew Sagadol, Jax Madison. They're throwing some questions at us, Spinny.
Let's go.
Both Thunder related. Oklahoma City Thunder
Thunder?
related.
Thunder, who
Drew
cares?
is wondering, after Chet's big performance this past weekend when he had 35 and 10 or whatever the hell he all had, is he leading the race over Wemby for Rookie of the Year? I think he is. As of right now, I would put Chet at 1. It is obviously an insanely close race that is going to go all the way down to the wire. And it might simply just be based on games played. If one of them, obviously, they both have to hit the 65 game mark. So if one's going under, it's just going to instantly be called there. I don't know, Spinny. Do you think this is going the distance here? Or what do you think about it right now? And then do you think it's going to go the distance?
Chet's the leader, more efficient, less ball in his hands time, still similar.
Bro shooting like 90% from the free throw line. It's absurd.
Yeah. Chet's unbelievably efficient, so you gotta give it to him. But also, like, Victor's counting stats are probably going to be better because he's having the ball in his hands more. He's on a worse team where he's going to take more shots. Chet's efficiency is probably going to be better. Like, that's most likely how the season's going to go. So it'll just be interesting to see how the voters pick between those two things.
Yeah, that's fair. Jax is wondering, is it too early to tell, or are the Thunder a legit team this year? By that, I'm assuming he means like chance to win it all. What's the ceiling for this squad is the second part of the question. Go ahead.
I think they're in the Wolves category. Top 5 to 7 regular season record, could definitely see them losing early. SGA has proven how good he is. And I think we've come to that point right now where it's like, this guy is going to probably be a top 10 player. Like, as surprising as that is, at least to me, it's kind of getting to that point. Like, if you can just score 30 a game whenever you want, like, it's just is what it is, I guess. It doesn't matter how you do it or whatever, and especially decently efficiently as he's doing it. So they go as far as SGA goes the same way the Wolves go as far as Ant goes. I think it's very similar in that. I think their ceiling is second round to Western Conference Finals, maybe. No, second round ceiling. I just don't trust this team in the playoffs. Haven't made it much. Don't have a history of winning. You don't see it very often in the NBA where you just jump straight to like a Western Conference Finals. Like the Hawks did it. There's been a couple examples, but a lot of times you got to lose for at least 2 years in playoffs. Like, that's just how it goes.
A team that did do it, Oklahoma City Thunder, back in the day with young Russ, young Harden, and young KD. They did make that jump. But I'm with you though, Spinny. I do think it's too early.
This team isn't as good as that though. Let's be real. Like,
right.
We viewed that team then. Like, if we were looking at it, whatever year that was, we viewed them as a much better team than we viewed this Oklahoma City team, if you're going, like, on the record, right?
No, I agree with you. At least of right now, we'd have to see more throughout the season. So, yeah, I'm going to go too early. I'm with you that the Thunder, they can be a top 4 seed, top 5 seed this year. That's kind of like the ceiling. But I will always say that's too early to say or too early to tell that they're legit until the playoffs, because like you said, they haven't done anything in the playoffs. So I'm not going to believe in them in that regard until they do it.
Especially in the Western Conference. Agreed.
Especially in the Western Conference. So yeah, that's their ceiling, top 5 seed, second round exit would be my guess there. We got George Sletta here, another past guest. Are Rockets a playoff team? And thoughts on Sengun balling out this year to start the season? We kind of touched on this a little bit last episode, I believe. I'm still not ready. I can see it. I am to the point, though. Let's put it this way. I am to the point. If you were to sit in front of me and argue to me that the Rockets are, in fact, going to be a playoff team, I will not counter it. I have seen
Rockets
enough
are gonna
from Ime, from their leaders. I've seen enough to where I can see that scenario paying out. I'm just not ready to admit it myself.
Rockets are gonna be in the top 10. They will get a shot at the play-in to play themselves into the playoffs. I can guarantee that. Too good of coaching from Ime, too much talent. They'll figure it out.
So you're saying yes.
Think
Okay.
I have seen enough to say that yes, I think they will be at least a play-in team.
So a lot
Also,
of that has to do with Sengun. Yeah.
Efficient as hell. Like big, efficient, can pass, can rebound, can score. It's mini Jokic.
I was just gonna say, can I call him off-brand Jokic?
Yes, it's less flashy Jokic, 100%.
This man's what, 21, 22 years old? Like he could be on that track.
I don't think he's going to be that good, but
I don't think so either. But
I do think he affects winning in a positive way, which in the NBA is huge.
Right. It did help that he grew 2 inches this offseason. He was only 6'9" last year. He's 6'11" now, so that's big time for him to add a little more size. James Harden question. Do you think he is a truly toxic teammate? Nate Winter is wondering.
I want to say no to this question so bad. I want to say no so bad, but it's like, how many different teams, how many different coaches, how many different GMs, how many different cultures? He's turning on Daryl Morey, who's been his biggest guy the whole time. It's just, when there's smoke, there's fire. It's like there's just too many times from too many different people for me to not say yes. I don't want to say yes, but it is what it is at this point.
No, I'm completely with you. What you said is my answer as well. All right, last one, Spinny. Ryan Clabundi. He says he is confused about the NBA in-season tournament, like many other NBA fans. He kind of wants us to talk about the format of it, talk about the standings as they are right now, and explain to him as well as other listeners why both players and fans should care about this. Spinny, I'll talk about a little bit about the format here. This ends December 9th, I believe. Well, actually, the championship is December 9th. This is not that long of a thing. They only play each team in their pool once. They played 4 games. That's all it is before they advance to the tournament stage. Okay? So they're placed in these pools, randomly drawn pools, 3 from the West, 3 from the East. They were already playing each other, right? You already play every team in your conference 4 times, I think it is. You're already playing those teams. So that's why it's still just a regular season game. They're playing these tournament games on Tuesdays and Fridays. All you need to do is just turn the game on and you'll see the new fancy court. Now you know it's a tournament game. It's actually that simple. I think it's just a lot of people are confused about the regular season aspect of it, I feel like. But it's like they already are playing each other. Now they're just designating it as a tournament game. That's all it is.
And we're just trying to get people to care more about the first 6 weeks of the season when nobody watches the NBA. That's what we're doing. We're trying to get more viewership. It's different uniforms. It's different courts. It's, whatever, trying to get the casual fan involved in the game. Now, I wish they made it matter more. I think that would be fun. I don't think the $500,000 to each player is like a ton of motivation. I will admit, though, I do think it's some. Damian Lillard made this great point. Like, 500 G's is something for the 13th, 14th, 15th man on teams. Like, that matters to them. That matters to their families, all that type of stuff. So I think that some of it, too, especially from teams that aren't worried about injury and stuff, they're playing for their guys that practice against them every day. They're playing for those guys on the team that matter to them. And I think that's a big part of it too, that people don't see. Good point made by Damian Lillard.
Yeah, that is a good point. November 28th, that's coming up here. That'll be the last group play games. We will start quarterfinals of the the knockout tournament, single elimination on December 4th and 5th. So it's coming up. Like Spinny said, it's just beginning season stuff. Try to get fans watching. Let's just move on to that part of the question. I do genuinely think I was totally confused about this going into the season. Didn't know if it would work. I do think fans should care about this. I actually do. I've watched a ton of these games already this season, and the players are locked in. Like I'm not kidding. The intensity's high. We saw freaking Draymond choke out Rudy. Jaden and Clay getting in fights like 2 minutes into the game. Like the intensity is ramped up in these games, and these guys are actually going for it. They really are. You got guys even like LeBron James. Bro's a billionaire. He's gone on record and said he cares about these games. He's making sure he plays 35 plus minutes in all of these games because he wants to win the in-season tournament. There's so many examples of this. Paul George on his podcast, he said he cares about this. He's trying to win the tournament. Like there's so many examples of guys, superstars even, that want to win this tournament more for the recognition even than the money. So I think fans should definitely care. And players so far clearly do care.
It'd be wild. What I'd really love to see, and I don't think the NBA will ever do this, but make the winner get an automatic playoff spot. That would be interesting. Make the winner get an automatic playoff spot. Imagine like some of these old teams like the Lakers, you can just get your automatic playoff spot and then you just rest your guys as much as you want the rest of the season. It'd kind of be wild.
Yeah, seriously. Well, Spinny, before we rattle off our Week 12 NFL picks, I will just say, since he wanted to hear the standings, Group A in the East, Pacers are currently your leader. Group B, Bucks. Group C, Celtics. So, if the tournament were to end today, those three teams are in the tournament. West, Lakers are leading Group A. Group B is the Pelicans. And Group C, because they have scored more points than us, is led by the Kings, not the Timberwolves. We're both 2-0. They have scored more points. That is one of the tiebreakers. So this Friday game against the Kings, the Wolves have big time matchup here. Those are your standings right now.
Like it. All right, let's rattle them off, Bus. No thinking this time. We're going fastest picks of the pod.
I'm going to do this right now, man. I have been doing this off the cuff from the get-go. You admitted to me last week that you were prepping for these until last week. So don't you give me that. Don't you give me that. I always rattle them off.
Fine, but I want it fast. Fastest picks of the pod.
Well, we know Thanksgiving, Thursday. We got 3 games, buddy. Packers, Lions. I'm going Lions.
Would you give me Packers would you give me +3 if I pick the Packers?
So if they lose by 3 points, that's a win for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll take it.
All right, I'll take the Packers.
All right. Commanders at Cowboys. I think Cowboys keep rolling.
Cowboys. This is a fun one.
This is the good one. 49ers at Seahawks. I'm taking the Niners. They look so good now that everyone's back and healthy.
I'm taking the Hawks. I think they get the upset at home. 12th man matters. We're going Seattle.
L for you. Before we move on to the first ever Black Friday game, Spinny is up by 1, by the way, after last week. I caught him because I got the Eagles, and he picked the Chiefs. Okay, Friday. Black Friday game, man. This is crazy. We got it.
It's going to be fun.
Dolphins at Jets. Dolphins. You don't trust Tim Boyle? Sunday, Steelers at Bengals. I'm going to go Steelers. I hate that, but no Joe Burrow, so.
Picking the I'm picking the Steelers. Their defense is gonna destroy the back quarterback there.
Yeah. Spinny, this might be a tough one for you to pick here.
No,
Jags.
It's not a tough one at all.
You're picking Jags.
Yes. T-Law is back. T-Law is back this week. He's about to outplay CJ Stroud in this game.
Texans are winning this game and showing you what's up, man. Yeah. Let's go.
Jags, baby.
Bucks at Colts. Somehow the Colts are 5-5. That just blows my mind, dude.
I know.
Why not? Screw it. I'll just take the home team. Let's go Colts.
All right, I'm picking the Bucks. Baker gets it done.
Right. Whatever. Screw you. Saints at Falcons. I'm gonna go Saints. Road team. I'll take my first road warrior here.
Yeah, I'll take the Saints too. I don't trust the Falcons.
Well, talk about a game both teams are trying to lose here. We got the 2-8 Pats visiting the 3-8 Giants.
There's
I'm gonna go Giants because Tommy DeVito somehow actually had a good game last week, and maybe he's just gonna shut me up for all the hating I do on him. So I'm going Giants.
I'm gonna go Pats. I think, but there's 2 games this week. That's the number 1 pick bowls. 2 number 1 pick bowls this week. I think they'll be the bottom 4 teams here, so it'll kind of be interesting to see how this goes. But I'm gonna pick the Pats on the road against the Giants.
So this is the next one is what you were referring to, the Panthers visiting the Titans. I think the Panthers are just too ass, bro. I just don't see it. I'm gonna go Titans, even though they don't care to win right now either.
Yeah, Derrick Henry at home. I'm picking the Titans.
Rams at Cardinals. Rams are favored by 0.5 point on the road. That's kind of interesting line. I'm gonna go Cardinals. Kyler's been looking pretty good.
Picking the Cardinals too. I think they've been successful against the Rams historically also.
Browns at Broncos. Broncos did just beat us, but I'm gonna go Browns because that defense is absurd, and they beat better quarterbacks than Russ so far this year.
We're about to see the 8-3 Browns. 8-3 Browns. That's wild.
Yeah. Chiefs at Raiders. Are you gonna say it?
We're gonna pick the Chiefs. Come on. We're taking the Chiefs.
Chiefs have Pat Mahomes on their team. The Raiders do not. Bills at Eagles. Back-to-back tough matchups for the Eagles here. Eagles at home again, though. Can Josh Allen really go turnover-free in Philadelphia? I think not. I'm taking the Eagles.
Yeah, I don't trust Buffalo's defense enough. Kansas City, though, last night did a really good job of, making the tush push irrelevant. I thought that's something that other teams can look at and we can use in the future to, limit how effective that is. Chiefs defense also unbelievably real, but I am picking the Eagles again. I want to pick the Bills because Josh Allen is Magic Mountain. So sometimes one of these days it's going to be up and it's going to be crazy and they could upset anybody. But I'm going to take the Philly.
Could be here. Ravens at Chargers after the Chargers pulled a classic Chargers loss last week and lost the bum-ass Packers. Obviously, I'm not picking them to beat the Ravens. Ravens are destroying the Chargers in this game.
9-3 Ravens. Brandon Staley, can he get fired already? Can we just fire him?
Please!
Not going to happen, though.
So frustrating. And the final game of the week, Monday Night Football. We got back-to-back primetime games for Minnesota Vikings. This time we host the Bears and our 3.5-point favorites. Dobbs gets it back on track, man. Hey, we won 5 games without Jefferson in a row. Obviously, we were going to lose one eventually, right? I'm not that upset about this Denver loss. I really am not. So
I'm not that upset, too, because it's an AFC loss. That's big for us. Keeps our NFC record better. And we're going to beat the Bears. We're going to be 7-5. I really would love to be looking at 7-4 and not 6-5 right now. But you're right. It was about time we lose, and I need to not be as greedy. So we're going to win, and all we got to do is get in the playoffs, and then I think especially in the NFC, anyone other than Philly is beatable.
We just can't lose this game. We can't lose to the Bears at home.
We can't. We cannot. There's our week 12 picks. One thing I did want to mention before Q&A, before we go, Thursday, Thanksgiving morning, wake up early with us. We got an hour on the Al Travis Show. We'll be picking all the Thanksgiving Day games. We'll be talking about the Vikings game from the weekend. We'll be talking about the Wolves. We'll be talking about lots of things. An hour on the Al Travis Show.
An hour.
Please check us out there. Also, Indiana Pacers, first team to clinch and advance in the tournament. They beat Atlanta 157-152 tonight. Wild game. 157-152.
Them Pacers, man, they play at an insane pace. It's absurd. Their games are so fun to watch if you have not checked out the Pacers this year.
Great league pass team.
Yes.
Tyrese Halliburton, 37 points, 16 assists, 5 rebounds, 11 for 18 from the field. 9 threes. 37 and 16 from Tyrese Halliburton.
Bro
Wild.
wants his all NBA selection this year, man.
Literally. Trae Young, 38-8. DeJounte Murray, 28-5. Lots of crazy performances. Well, on that note, you got a Q&A for me, or are we going to get them out of here?
I think we're getting him out of here again.
All right.
This is what y'all need to do.
Thank you for listening.
Though. You need to focus on the Mamba mentality, man. This is episode 81.
This man, he's going to do this even though he keeps losing in trivia, so it doesn't matter. Thank you for listening. Hug your friends and family. We love you, and have a wonderful night.
Love y'all.